DBS community, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to continue to break down the anniversary support, diving into, I would say, the most underwhelming deck that's actually getting support in this product, which is going to be the super, or not super, but technically Super 17, but Hellfighter 17 leader. This leader has a unique ability to cycle between Z leaders. It's a very good, very cool deck. Honestly, it's very interesting. Essentially, it has the ability of cycling between 3 different Z leaders, which all do different things, and you be able to play them out on your opponent's turn and on your turn. You can kind of get these cool cycling effects. The deck has, needless to say, has been incredibly underwhelming. I think it's putting it lightly. I don't think this deck has seen play at all. I would say out of all of the decks that have received support, this might be the bottom of the decks that receive support. I don't know if this support is going to make this deck playable or not. We definitely tried. I spent a lot of time actually reading these cards. So hopefully I got the effects right. I'm pretty sure I did. It took me a long time to read this. So we'll go with the leader, and then we will dive into the deck itself. So we have Android 20 and Dr. Mew. You are a top 5, and you add any Android or Machine Mutant that costs 6 or less that are both green and 6 or less. And you awaken at 4, or if you have 2 or more energy, WoW 1 or more Android 17 and Hellfighter 17 cards are in your Z and battle area, which then you are a draw 2 and strike down to 6. Now on this side, when this card attacks, you draw 1, and then activate main, add to 1 card from your life to your hand, and choose up to one of your opponent's unisons and remove a marker on it. That's cool. Too bad not a lot of people play unisons. Activate main, place one card from under one of your Super 17 cards under this card. For the turn, reduce the skill cost of Z Awaken on Super 17 ready to absorb in your Z deck by 1 green. So before we get into the Z deck, we're actually going to go into the main deck itself. And I believe this deck received 3 pieces of support. So the first one's going to be the 17 Forced Fusion. Activate main if your leader is green and Machine Mutant. You switch this card to rest mode, draw 1. Place up to 1 Android 18 or Cell, both green, within a cost of 1 from your deck, or drop under your leader. Shuffle your deck if you look through it. And then activate main if this card is under a Super 17 card. Note it's a Super 17 card. Choose it to one of your opponent's battle cards and place it under a Super 17 card on top of this card. Switch a Super 17 card on top of this card to active mode at the end of the turn. I say card because I believe your Z leaders count as Super 17. So you have removal, which is very interesting. You can just choose one of their cards, remove it, place it under your leader, and switch it to active mode for activate main. And that's pretty cool. So you can continue just to do that limit 1 once per turn. That's pretty cool, right? You have instant removal, and be able to restand a Super 17, so you can restand one of your boss monsters or your leader. I'm pretty sure your leader counts as Super 17. We'll look that over again. Another piece, Hellfighter 17 Desired Fusion. This is a negate if your leader is a Super 17 Z leader. It's a 1-drop, just a free negate if your leader is that. Once card's played from your hand, choose one of your mono green Super 17 battle cards, and it gains the following skill for the turn. Auto once per turn when this card activates blocker, switch it to active mode. So you give any of your Super 17 battle cards blocker, which is nice. You can block with it and then restand it to block again. So this is like a weird token negate. Honestly, this card is really good. Both of these cards are fantastic for the deck. This says 5. We're going to change that after the video. It's supposed to be 4. So don't fucking comment. I saw that. Yeah. It happens, right? Moving on. 3 Super 17 Wicked Hell Machine. This is the 3rd piece of new tech the deck received. The 15k blocker. Activate main if your leader is a green Machine Mutant. Play this card from your hand. Place up to 1 of each of the 17 Hellfighters from within a cost of 1 from your deck under this card. Then blocker, so send 2 cards from under this card to your warp when this card attacks. Your opponent discard 1 card from their hand. At the start of your turn, you choose up to 1 of each of the cards from your warp, and then place play up to 1, and then add 1 of them to your Z energy. So you kind of get the cards back, which is really interesting. So it's not a really big card. It's a a 2-drop. It's a 15k 2-drop. So that's you know. But the effect's really cool. I think if this card cost 1, it would have been better. 3's fine. It's also searchable, so that's always a good thing. We have Misuse Power. This is an older promo that came out with the set. If your leader is this particular leader, and you have a Hellfighter in your Z energy, you can play this card from your hand for 1. So this just allows you to kind of awaken. If you have a Hellfighter in your Z energy, you can play this card for 1 to awaken. And then if you have 4 more energy, when this card is placed under a Super 17 from in the drop, you choose an 8-drop Super 17 in your battle area and switch to active mode. So it's a 1-drop remove. It's a 1-drop kind of awaken. It's basically kind of like this card here as well. It's very similar. Older winner stamp, Hell's Guidance. The top part doesn't matter because our leader's not yellow. But active main, choose up to 1 Super 17 card in your battle area. Place this card under the chosen card. So you can kind of free absorb a card underneath, which is good because then you can use those pieces to detach. So it's pretty cool. That's any of your Super 17 cards. So now we get to the powerful quarries. So these are the 18 cell that you can actually retrieve off of this guy. Cell is a 1-drop double striker. He's basically Champa for this. You would run this, I think, over the Android 20 Vial Creator, which is also a double striker, because this is searchable, and this is always a 5k. And then the Android 18 is a 5k bump for free from the warp. So if you send this card from underneath the Super 17 Z leaders to the warp, you give one of your leaders 5k. So both these cards are good, and with the Force Fusion, you get to place one of them from the drop of the deck. To place up to one of them from the drop or your deck underneath your leader. So you can kind of cycle them out of your deck or your drop area, which is very nice. This one you can kind of can't recycle it, but if you put it in the drop area, you can get it back, obviously, off of the new Android 17. 4 of the synchronized. This is kind of the one of the ways of getting into your awaken. You play it for 1, place it in the drop, and then you can actually grab. You can play both of the 1-drops from your deck or your drop. Their skills negated. It's also a 15k attacker for 1, so it's pretty good. 3 of the Hell's Avenger gains a double strike and barrier, and then it can choose a card from under this card in a combo, and your opponent places one of their Z energy in the drop. It's a pretty cool effect. It's kind of one of your beaters. Followed by Onyx Lightning, which is your big beater. It's an 8-drop. Gains double strike, barrier, dual attack. When a card is placed from under this card and drop area by a leader skill, choose one of your opponent's battle cards to KO it. Then your opponent discards a card from their hand. That's limit 1. They limited this effect. I think if they didn't, I think this card actually would have been really snapped. But they definitely decided to limit this deck's power very, very heavily. 4 Brainwash. Oh, I thought I had the other one. 4 Brainwasher. This is a cantrip. You also can place and drop to play out the other one, which we don't believe I have in the deck. But we play this one. So this is the 1-drop Hellfighter 17 that we would use off like Synchronize and things, and then this is the 1-drop Android 17 that we would use. So this actually replaced the other 17 that's in the deck. 4 Paraguses, 2 Infernal Messenger. This is an old card, but if your leader is a green Android, you can look at the top 10 and add up to 2 Android 17 Hellfighters or Super 17 cards among them to your hand. So why this card's good, you can add the 17 that is yellow, because it searches out just any of the actual card names, and it searches top 10. So it searches out for a 50 card deck, it's going to search out, I mean, you're going to be at like 30 something cards. So you're going to be able to search out a fourth of your deck essentially with this effect, and you're grabbing 2 cards. So it's very, very good. We have 3 Homicidal Clones, 1 Flash Bomber, because we can give an Android card 10k and crit, and since this guy gains double strike and dual attack, it does crit for the battle, but we can give this guy crit. Like, you can kind of just kind of play around with it a little bit. 4 Piccolos, because this deck doesn't, like, we need to be able to draw. I think having a Unison in this type of deck is unfortunately kind of the route we have to go. You can also do Demigra, but I like Piccolo for the draw. And since this deck actually KOs a lot of stuff, because of the Z leader and all the battle cards, you're able to KO stuff, this card's going to typically be a 20k most of the time. 3 Charismatic Villain, playing Unison. 3 Dormant, again, playing Unison. And also we can't play Uneasing, unfortunately, in this deck. This deck is not a Saiyan, despite what people might think, so you can't actually use it. I put 1 Cell's Earth-Destroying Kamehameha in it. I just bumped up to 2. Realistically, you might just get rid of Flash Bomber if you don't want it, but I just showed the one of so you guys can actually see which one you guys want to use. Secret Rare, I pick Xenocell. You can also do Cell Max. Cell Max is not a bad option at all. So Z deck, we have 1 Ready to Absorb. This is the one that gets reduced by 1. And Z stacks the other 2 Z leaders at the end of the turn. Place this card from under your Z leader on top of your leader. And then, so at the end of your turn, place this card from under your Z leader on top of your leader. You cycle back into this card. You place up to 1 android and it costs 1 from your deck under this card. Shuffle. If you do, that means we can actually grab the new Android 17 and put it underneath there, and then we can start absorbing stuff, which is cool. We have 1 Bound by Blood. If an 18 is under your leader and you place 1 card from under a Super 17 card in your battle area in the drop, and you turn, place a card from under your leader on top of this card. So you can kind of cycle into this card by getting rid of the 18. When your opponent attacks, choose up to 1 of your Super 17 cards, switch to active mode. So this counts as Super 17, so you can switch to active mode if you want. You can switch any of your blockers or your big guy to active mode. If it's your opponent's turn, when one of your opponents switches one of their energy to rest mode, chooses one of your opponent's battle cards 4 or less and KO it. So this is anytime they switch it to rest mode. This is by a skill. This is by paying for a card. You can use this effect to pop something. Is it incredibly powerful? No, but it's still pretty good that you can actually do this. Then we have Diabolical Union, which when the card attacks, draw 1. This is the one you play on your turn, and the Bound by Blood is what you play on your opponent's turn. If it's your turn, when an opponent's energy switches to rest mode, switches to card active mode, then choose between your opponent's battle cards and KO it. That's very good, obviously. If a cell card is under this card, you place one card from under a Super 17 card in your battle area, and they drop. Place this card from under your leader on top. Place this card from under your leader on top of your leader. So you can kind of go into this guy. This is the one that draws. This is probably the best out of the 3. I believe this is how you play it. This is the one that you would play on your turn. Then you cycle into this guy, and then you just kind of go back up the chain, essentially. 2 Broly's, probably the best Z battle card for green now. I think it's safe to say 1 drop, 25k double strike. They pop something. It's pretty good. 1 android. Creator, Dr. Gero, just because it's an android, we can use it to take our life, and also use just cycle the card. It's not bad. And then 1 Jiren. I think since we have Broly now, we don't need Frieza, essentially. But Jiren, just for the Unison removal, you're always gonna run it. So this is the deck. It's a deck that's for sure. I've talked to a few people who play this deck. Everyone just thinks it's just kind of dead on arrival. I do think there are some the 2 new Android like 17 and Hellfighter 17 cards. These 2 cards are amazing. I'm just gonna change this now because I'm sure somebody's gonna be pissy in the comments about it. So we're just gonna change this guy to actually we'll just do this too. So we're actually gonna cut this guy. Let's do this. Yeah. This just seems a little bit better. So, this is the list. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys are playing this deck, let me know down in the comments what you guys find to work with this deck, what doesn't work. Let me know. I have very limited playtesting with this deck. I could not find any games to play with play on tap. It just was very difficult to play over on tap. So, yeah. So let me know if you guys do play this deck. If you guys think it's good, let me know. If you think I'm wrong, I'm sure somebody does. So thank you guys, as always, for the support. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to keep supporting the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.